Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
All right. I'm glad to be speaking with you. I love this movie. Like love it so much.
Thank you.
Um
Thank you so much.
I yeah, it's I'm a sucker for a good romantic comedy to begin with, but
Yeah.
they're very formulaic. So you kind of know, you kind it's very rare that you're surprised. You're like, I think I'm gonna like that one, so you do. And this is kind of as if that you guys just made the best possible version of one but but also just like leaning into realism, but then also doing things that are like magic in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's so rich. Like first time I read the script, it was like, wow, I've been everywhere with this, like emotionally and been weird places. Like it was even more in the script. It was even like places in the desert, dreams. Like, yeah,
I mean, that's
didn't
the
all
thing.
fit in.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is you in a movie like this, or even just any movie that has a sort of romantic theme, you want to see yourself in it a little bit because that's how you
Yeah.
associate with it. You're never gonna see yourself in a James Bond movie, and that's fine. I'm a wuss. I don't want to. But you want to feel like the romance is like, oh, I did something like that. And I think even just the like freezing time for a minute scene, I don't know anyone who hasn't done that. I feel like you have to at some point just wish like, what if time stopped and I could just observe everything in this like very rough moment? It feels so
Yeah.
real.
And live through like the guy or girl you walk past, and you can have a small like pocket of experience with that person without anything changing around you. So it's like I love the space Joachim makes in the movie for that.
Totally. And you just even just elements of it that would be very simple and very cast aside in a like a Hollywood movie because that doesn't necessarily mean it's better or worse. It's just a different style. Both of the guys wouldn't be developed in the same way they are. Like this, the idea that like both are great, but both are wrong, but both are right. Like they just there's
Yeah.
nuance that I mean, just as an actress, I'm sure is exciting that you get to dive into this is messy and complicated and
Oh yeah.
I get to like dive in.
Yeah. Like an actress and a human being. Like I've learned so much from this movie. It's been like a very personal process. It's I'm so happy it connects to people. I feel like people get very moved by the same stuff we did when we made the movie, and that's like it feels like people are together on this. It's like it's important to talk about, to go through this in a movie. It's the best compliment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it hits on that thing that I think we all go through, and I think you have to go through, which is there are things in life that are going to be the most important thing to you in the world at the moment, but in reality, it's not as big a deal. Like
Yeah.
whether it's high school or college or like changing your major, all these things seem like these gigantic, like life-altering decisions when everyone else looking at you is like, yeah, sure, like we did it, you'll be fine. And
Yeah.
watching, a fully formed character go through all that is and not for laughs. Like it's a funny movie, but it's not played as you're never laughing at her. You're just recognizing, oh, she's in it. It's just
Yeah.
so like your heart is full the whole time.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you play something like that? Because it is very realistic, but obviously you're not playing yourself. But how do you find like elements within yourself that you want to put on screen, but then also make sure you're creating a unique character as opposed to just autobiographical?
Well, I think because the first time I read the script, I felt very connected to the role and
Hmm.
very like emotionally attached, but I couldn't figure out who she was exactly, and it wasn't clear to me. I had more questions than I had answers, and I thought I'd just go with that. And Joachim, he makes this for him, it's so important both in like showing a movie and making a movie that we're all together in it. Like we're talking about things that we all want to talk about together. So it empowers him that it's a collective work. And I feel since I didn't know exactly who she was, we all kind of leaned in on the dynamic between the characters.
Hmm.
So, and that makes it's very liberating for an actress because you're never there. It's not about me or my specific thoughts on it. It is in a way, but it's more what happens there and then. We of course did rehearsal, and we were very specific on certain things and made like a strong analysis of every scene and the whole like journey all the characters went through. But ultimately it was being there together that made the scene
Yeah.
so complex.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
it makes sense because you get that sense. Like you can tell when a movie's not working that there's a lot of people trying to figure it out, but you can
Mm,
also kind of tell when it's working, that just okay, everyone is on the same page and your actress and your filmmaker are approaching, obviously approaching it from different points of view in life, but this character is going to be fully formed because of it. But it just leans, I think it just means that you guys figured out the exact right pitch for, well, how mad is she going to be when she goes to meet his friends in the first act? Like, how off-putting is that experience to her?
yeah,
Whereas, later, like, how much does she want what she wants as opposed to what she doesn't? Like, there's just the right amount of I don't know what I want, but I know I don't know what I want, and I'm gonna figure it out. And it's just so hard to
yeah.
pull off.
It's she's always confused, but I think in a very wise way. I
Yeah,
think she is like something I learned very late in life was how to hold a lot of emotions and a lot of thoughts at the same time.
yeah,
So like one emotion doesn't exclude another, and loving someone, it doesn't exclude loving the other person, and holding that. I think that's a very important lesson Julie teaches, the role of Julie, because yeah, and it makes the situations very credible. Is that how you say it
yeah.
in English? Like
You believe it. Yeah, you believe every decision she makes, whether
yeah,
you agree or not.
yes, because she's like in so many different uh, like different ways of seeing it at the same time.
Yeah,
So she's like existentially thinking about life all the time and a bit outside of life, but she's at the same time very in it and very vulnerable to the situation. So it's a very balance of being her. Like she's well balanced,
yeah.
very well written, you
Yeah, and
know.
you like when like the breakup scene, like when she's told you're making a huge mistake, and she goes, "I believe you." Like you believe that, and I'm just curious,
Yes.
sort of the last couple minutes we
Yeah.
have. Like you said, you
Yeah.
had questions before you started. Like will this work? Like will it feel real? Like when did you know? I mean, I would imagine getting an award at Cannes is helpful, but I imagine somewhere before that you're like, oh, I think we're doing this. Like when did it hit you?
Well, I think on set we were like the whole crew and everyone after a scene would be very affected
Yeah,
from the breakup scene. Like they would go home and be sad and be confused and with their own life. And I think that's when we understood this is important to us.
yeah,
Like we feel very like we're making something important, but since we didn't know exactly what it was and we were asking all these questions, we were very curious to show it to people. But it seems like people are having the same experiences as us all over the world. So that's amazing.
Oh yeah, no, it hit me so hard. It's one of my favorite films. You
Oh,
give one of my favorite performances. Like it's the type of
thank
thing
you
that
so
you just
much.
oh, it's my pleasure. Like you want movies to be like this. Like because it is. It's entertaining and it's heartbreaking and it's funny. Like it does a little bit of everything and it does that thing that I think every movie really wants to do and so few do, which is just make you fall in love with characters. Like
Oh, that's nice.
like
Yeah.
you're with her very early. And then both of the guys, like initially you're like, why? But then you get used to them and there's like this sense of, okay, no, I'm down with I like them. Oh, and that's when she has to move away. They're constantly you guys are all constantly evolving how you feel about everyone in the film. And it's really everything's very bold and it makes it just so much more satisfying that it works.
Very, very, yeah, these are very beautiful compliments.
I try.
Yeah.
No, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful film. I mean, it is, and it's like it's the rare film that you want it to be longer. Like by the time that you're wrapping up, you get a little upset that you're not going to be spending more time with her.
That's really nice. It's
Right.
really, I also liked being now on this press tour and being in festivals because I get to spend a little more time with the
Yeah.
project,
Right.
because we like after we finished after we wrapped we didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
It's really interesting like space to be in it, talking about these themes in that way with these wonderful characters that Eskil and Joachim wrote.
Totally. Well, I know you have to go, so congratulations again. Congrats on the award, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last one.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Congrats again. You deserve every bit of it.